What is hatching, Tug Peeps? OldManTup coming at you today with our Week 5 match versus Lars, aka El Scissor, and the Borussia Donphan. Now, if you're excited for this matchup, like I am, hit that like button. If you're not, I'm sorry about your feelings. They are wrong. You should be excited about this match because it's going to be a good one. Why? Because I know. So, I want to take this moment to thank some people. I've been neglecting to do that this season. So we're going to start with Jenners. Some people who have been genning teams for me. We're going to start out with the Black Snorlax. He's done it the most. We're also going to thank Aaron from the GBA analyst pool. And we're going to thank Nova. Nova, I believe, was the one who genned this week's specific team. So thank you, Nova. Did it on a whim because I needed it ASAP, so thank you very much. Now let's talk about people who've been recording matches for us. We are again going to be thanking Aaron from the GBA. We are going to be thanking Levenant, aka War for 120. And Juancito Marvel, my buddy, who is doing the PPL, what are we doing together in the PPL? Division 2 weekly recaps. So if you love those people, go check them out on the Twitter and say, hey, thanks for being a pal for Tup. I'm sure they'll appreciate it because they're all fantastic people and they do this out of the kindness of their heart and take 20 minutes at least out of their day for me for nothing. So big shout out to them. So thank you. Now let's take a look at the team here, and he brought pretty much what I thought he would bring. A lot of the things we said we thought would be there are there. So this is the best team I think we could have brought to play this. So let's see what Lars is going to do here. And we'll see if our team prep was enough to be able to beat the Borussia Donphan and El Scissor, another coach who we, fun fact, have played more than once and never beaten in the GBA. And Aaron has recorded this in that super sweet, whatever this mode is called. Looks really different. We're just going to lead off each of us with our Volt Turners. We're going to go straight off for Nature's Madness and miss right out the gate. He's going to come down and go for a Volt Switch. Not very effective. We knew we could take it even with the boost. And he's going to bring out Mr. Bro. So this is going to lead me to believe this is Scarfed or he wouldn't bring it out. But one thing I know here, he watches my matches and he knows I'm going to switch out because this happened to me a prior week where I just lost Tapu Koko straight out the gate because I neglected to switch out. So I think he's going to know that I know that he's Scarfed. So I'm going to stay in knowing that he knows that I think that he's Scarfed, and I'm going to switch out, and he is going to go for the U-turn. So we get an early game prediction after the first turn miss, and that isn't going to do much, which is going to give us 100% concrete evidence that Tornadus is Scarfed. Now, he's going to go out into his Latias, which is going to come in and take this T-Bolt. Now, that T-Bolt does right around 30%, which is fantastic. Now, I'm sure this is somewhat of a bulkier set. He is going to switch out here, going to go out into Rotom, and he's just slowly wearing Tapu Koko down, switching around into his bulkier Mons, giving us that Life Orb recoil. We're already below half health, and he's got the Rocky Helmet. So that's something we have to keep in mind when attacking this thing. And we're going to switch out here. We're going to go out into Black Pearl, because Black Pearl drops the boom on the majority of his team. Now he's going to switch out here. He has 2 fairies, so it's a little bit early for me to go around and start dropping Dracos. So I'm just going to go for the Surf here, revealing that I have it. And I know it's going to hit everything on his team for at least a little bit of damage. This was his best switch in to that. I didn't want to go for the Earth Power early and him do something like a, really funky play like staying in Intoxicking or Will-O-Wisping, or going for the Paralysis because we're Scarf set this week. So we are going to go into our Tangrowth here. Wit is going to go for the Moonblast, and we should eat that up with minimal investment. Does well below what we can switch out and regenerate. And electricity is finally going to fade from the battlefield. He's going to switch out here. He has quite a few options to go into, and he's just going to go right back out into his Latias. And we go for the rock slide here, predicting Rotom to come back in, but we miss the rock slide. He's going to go for the Draco Meteor here, thinking I would be able to take it, or he would just straight up roost. And that is going to take Noodle down, which makes me sad face. So Noodle goes down, and we're going to send out Pop-Tart here, and we're going to start dropping the hits with Pop-Tart. Looking back on this, this would have been a really good point to go into Scizor, set up a Sword Stance, and start laying booms on things, but I also didn't want to do that while his Rotom Heat was still around, because it could just easily switch in and take any hit. So we're going to go for the Scald here. We aren't going to get lucky and snag a burn this turn. We are going to have to switch out. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to go out and Hitmontop, because Hitmontop takes hits from this thing for days. A little sad he didn't bring the Decidueye, because as mentioned in the team builder, we have that Shed Shell. Not that it would have mattered, because he knocks off this turn and knocks off our item. And we see that he's Life Orb, so he's already at a point where he's at half health. And if we hit him with another incoming Scald, he's only got one attack left in him. So that's good for us. He's going to go out into Rotom here. We're just going to get off a Toxic, because I really didn't think he was going to go into his Magearna right out the gate. I kind of thought that he might be going into his Primarina, and getting the Toxic off on that would have been really good for us. So we're going to switch out top, because it is our immediate and instant answer to Crawdaunt. Rotomeme's just going to go for the Volt Switch here. It's going to do little damage, because the electric terrain is not on the field, and he's going to get a free switch into Wit here. Now this isn't good for us, because we have nothing to hit it with. The Surf did negligible damage. Earth Power, unless we start getting the drops, isn't going to be doing a lot, and we're just going to have to switch back out here. Thank goodness that he didn't set up rocks at any point in this match, because that would have been no bueno. He's going to go for the Scald here, and this was a really crazy play on me. I was really thinking the Moonblast was incoming. Kevlar's going to come out, not get burned, so we've traded a pair of Scalds, neither of us getting the burn. So that's good. I should have just went out into Pop-Tart, because Pop-Tart would have taken the hits the best. He's going to switch out here. I switch out here. Was already fairly confident, but I am faster than that, so that's good. And Rotom's going to come out here. Rotom is not going to want to take a Scald to the face. Rotom is faster than us. Clearly going to be able to get the Volt Switch out. Puts it in about the range where we could either just slack off the damage or regenerate on the switch. It's going to go out into the Latias. I'm going to go for the Scald here. Really hoping to snag a burn this time, and we don't. So that's no bueno. Now we're at a point I don't think we can take a Draco Meteor. As a matter of fact, I know we can't take a Draco Meteor after how much it did the first time. So I'm going to go out into Coco. The safest thing for me to go into at this point, and he's just going to recover. I'm just like, okay. Kind of figured that was going to happen. I could have gone for a Shadow Ball to get cheeky there, because I did have it, but at the same point I didn't want to lose my Slowking, because it does work this match. I'm going to go for the U-turn. I really thought he would switch out here, but he didn't, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to Volt Turn out into Kevlar with the special defense investment. We should be able to take this at a reasonable range, or Draco at a reasonable range, if that's what he chooses to go for. He's going to go for the Psyshock. That does a pretty solid amount of damage, but then it's like, oh yeah, I invested in special defense this week. So, no problem. He's going to go for a Draco Meteor here. And we are going to see that the special defense investment was worth it, because it does less than half. Now, anytime we can switch into that, do less than half, and roost off the damage, I am very happy with that. We are just going to get the knockoff here, which is going to be enough to take out this Latias, which is great, because that was his last remaining Thunderbolt resist that he has on his team that he's going to want to come in and, you know, just T-bolt things, or take T-bolts. Rotom Meme, based off the damage we've seen this take, is toxic and is not going to want to take T-bolts from what's left on our Tapu Koko. So that's good. He's going to go for the Volt Switch here. Just going to get a little bit of extra damage on our Hydreigon. Now, he brought this thing out here, and I thought that was a really weird switch. I'm figuring he's just baiting an attack. He doesn't know for a fact that we're Scarf at this point, and I figure he was baiting the Z move to see whether or not we had it. And we go for the Earth Power, and we see it does pathetic damage at that range, which is really, really sad. Now we're going to switch out here. Running out of things to switch into this, but we do just go into Pop-Tart. Like I said, we're sitting at a really decent range. He's going to Moonblast us here, and I'm really hoping not to get the special attack drop because this is a special attacker. Goes for the Moonblast. We see that we can take those really well. And I was worried the entire time this thing was carrying Toxic, because that would really make it hard for us moving forward with Slowbro if he got a Toxic off. So we're going to see another Moonblast here. I really thought he was going to switch out this turn. He doesn't. We go for another Scald, and finally on our third Scald, we snag a burn. So we're sitting right about at odds for that, even though we've missed our Nature's Madness, which I didn't even know missed until this match, and our Rock Slide. So we snag a burn, which is going to negate this thing's leftovers, which is fantastic. I do need to switch out here because a roll will get the kill, and I need Slowbro. Gonna go into Kevlar because I think we might be able to take one Moonblast with our investment, and he isn't going to want to stay in. But unfortunately, we do not survive that Moonblast. I didn't do the calcs because I didn't know exactly what this set was, so I don't know whether or not that was a roll. But based off of how little damage we took from that Draco Meteor, what we had left there, I really thought we were going to survive, but alas, we did not. Now, he can't switch anything in and take two Thunderbolts at this point, I don't think. So we're just going to go for a Thunderbolt because we really need to start putting damage on this team, and I don't want this to turn into him just running shop on us. Rotom Heat is going to take that hit, and that is going to prove to be too much for him to take. Especially after the poison damage, there's no way the damage that first one did, he's going to survive another. Even max min roll possibilities, he does go down. Rotom Heat goes down, and that was his biggest immediate answer to Slowking. So that's fantastic. Now, granted, we haven't seen all the moves on Mr. Bro here. If it's completely physically offensive, he could have the knockoff, which could be trouble for us. But I don't think that's the case, and I really think it's going to be a mixed attacker with U-turn. So we'll see what happens. He does just get the kill on Tapu Koko there with the U-turn. I didn't want to sacrifice anything on a switch out there. Nothing really to go into. So he's going to bring out Magearna here, and I am carrying the Fire Blast. But at this point, if I survive, what it's going to do, I just need to go for a Slack off here and get myself back up to a reasonable amount of health. I don't want to switch sack anything because nothing left on my team really wants to come into a Moonblast or a whatever the heck the Fairy Flurry that it has. So we're behind the 8-ball here, but we still have answers to the things he has. Now he's got the Encore here, and I'm just like, okay. As long as I'm locked into Slack Off, he can't come in and one-shot me with anything that he has. I mean, he could come in and attempt to set up, but at the same point, I'm only going to be slacking off 2 more turns after this, so he switches out, he gets 1 turn to set up. Unless he has, like, Calm Line, the Fairy Flurry move, I don't think he can one-shot us with anything, and a Fire Blast should be able to put it into a revengeable range for our, you know, dude, our Hydreigon. So I slack off, HP's at full, and we're going to see what this thing's going to do for us. He's going to get the U-turn off here. I don't think it's going to do half, and it doesn't, so that's fantastic. He's just, I don't know if he's testing the waters to see if I would switch out, but I knew there wasn't a lot he could do to us here. So he's going to go out into Crawdaunt, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm going to be sitting back at full health again, so that's fantastic because it's where I need to be. The Encore is going to end this turn. Now, I'm not foolish enough to stay in and take a knockoff, because 100% of the time that's what he's going to be going for, unless he wants to set up the sword stance at this point, but I think he knows that that's not a good idea. He is going to get the knockoff here, and we're going to be faster than this thing 100% of the time. I don't think he's staying in, so we are just going to go ahead and drop that CC this turn, because if he thinks he's faster than us and goes for a waterfall, he's not going to like that at all. So Mr. Bro comes in here, takes just about 40% from that close combat, which is fantastic, which means that we can close combat for days on things that come in. If he decides to go into pre-marina, he's going to be catching things to the face he doesn't want. Now, he can U-turn here, but he has to know that isn't going to kill us and nothing wants to come in. He's going to go for a Sludge Wave here, and he's going to get, what, that 10% poison chance, which is just terrible. So, that's not good for us. He's going to go into the Ricicle here. We're going to go for the Scald. We're going to Scald him. We're going to see huge amounts of damage from that. Now, we need to switch out here because we can't take the Super Fairy attack, the Fairy Draco Meteor. So we're going to switch out here. We're poisoned, and that's not good. We're going to go into Black Pearl, expecting this to be the Nature's... And he's just going for Shadow Ball. I was really curious about that. I don't know if he thought at that point that the Nature's Flurry, or he wasn't carrying it. But I mean, everything left on my team outside of Slowking gets destroyed by fairy attacks. I couldn't, when I switched out there, I couldn't believe that that was what happened. So I just click Surf here because it hits everything on his team for about the right amount of damage. Granted, he could bring in his Whitney, and that would take it, but it's going to do about the same amount of damage Earth Power was doing. It's going to U-turn out here, and I'm switching very effectively, and the first one did just below half, and he's going to crit me here. So, Slowking has taken a poison from the very first Sludge Wave he used, got crit by the U-turn, and that literally kills it, which gives his Ricicle a +1 boost, because it has... Now it's at +1 special attack, which I really can't do anything against. And my answer to everything on his team went down in that one shot. I could take any one hit at that point, and I could still switch to kill things. Granted, I'm on, again, behind the 8-ball. He goes into Whitney, and that is going to take that Earth Power relatively well, but I had to go for that even though he could have switched into Mr. Bro. And there isn't much I can do at this point because unless I get a super crit on this Earth Power and he like misses a Moonblast, which isn't even possible, I do finally get a special defense drop, but it's too little too late. Whitney's going to hit the Moonblast, and that's 4 times effective, and that's going to kill our Mon. All I have left after this is Hitmontop, and Hitmontop is going to go down. I think it's already been shown that I'm slower than Primarina, and I will just die to a incoming fairy attack, if not from the next 2. So I have to go for close combat here, praying that I'm faster than Primarina. And it turns out I am. And I'm going to get the close combat off. And at this range, close combat is going to be enough to finish off this Primarina. So Hitmontop doing work this week, getting that Toxic off on the... Oh, shoot. Off on the Rotom Heat. Getting close combats off, putting things within range. And he is going to show off his Super Fairy Z move here. Unfortunately, he is faster than us. And he's going to get off a Quirk. Oh, this is actually the steal move, and he's just doing this for style points at the very end of the match. 100% guaranteed to kill at this point. And it is going to take us down. So we lose, I think it was it 3-0 or 2-0? Maybe it was 2-0. What did he have left? Let's take a look. Latias went down. No, he had 3 because Crawdont was still alive. So he had Crawdont, Magirna, and Tornadus left. I really think we could have taken that one down to the wire without that crit and or poison, one or the other, because we survive the crit if we don't have the poison, because we are sitting on, I think, 2 less turns of poison. So those particular hacks were unfortunate. This was a very unlucky match for us. We missed 2 attacks. We missed the Nature's Madness, which would have kept Tapu Koko at a lot higher health, because Rotom would have instantly been sitting at half health, which means a pair of Thunderbolts would have killed it at that point, and we had to waste a lot more attacks on it, but that's fine. Great game by Lars. He played really smart. We played smart. Luck just was not on our side this match, and we are sitting 0-5 going forward into the season. Next week we have Duncan Knee Deep and the Free State Toracats. So look forward to that. We have a fairly reasonable team matchup against that, but he has a bunch of huge threats on his team that we have a lot of hard time covering, but I think we can do it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this match, hit that thumbs up button. Leave your comments down below about who you thought was the MVP of this match, and what you think might have happened differently. Maybe some of you are better at damage calcs than I am. Let me know what you thought about some of the rules we had and or didn't have. Alright guys, it's been OldManTup. Thank you for watching this episode of Pittsburgh Pirattatas in the GBA Season 7. Catch you on the flip side, guys. Peace.